Hey, Dr. Zimmer.
What's up?
Not much.
And that's where it ends. We're like, yo.
Hey Zeus, what's up with your background? How did you get to do that?
It's in the video settings.
That's dope.
Yeah, man. I'm in Alaska right now.
Oops. Okie dokie. I'm gonna go ahead and start. I graded your exams and I wanted to talk about a couple things. I'd like to let's see. So I put the solution up on Blackboard if you want to look at it. The first thing I wanted to talk about was calculating D. That was one of the multiple choice questions. And D is the distance from the extreme compression fiber to the centroid of your tensile steel. So you had to do a little centroid calculation, which I don't know that we've had to do that yet. I need homework problems. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's good to remember that. And it was not like a terribly hard calculation, but that's the, it right there. I wonder if I can open it. Yeah. Let's see. Another issue that I found was on the first problem where we have to calculate CNMG. Several people use the transition equation to calculate phi. And I want to go over to the section on phi, the strength reduction factor. We are in, we're calculating the strength for a moment, right? So phi can only be from 0.65 to 0.9. If you go here, you can, there's the actual equations, like if you have your strain and your extreme tensile reinforcement less than yield, your compression controlled. If it's greater than yield plus 0.003, so about 0.005, you're at 0.9. And it's only if you're in between those two values that you use these equations. In this case, the strain was 0.0089, which is much more than 0.005. So you cap your phi at 0.9. And you can also look at this little chart here too, right? No matter what, phi is capped at 0.9 for the moment, and then it's also, I think, for axial. It's moment, axial, or combined moment and axial. And nowhere on this chart does it say greater than 0.9 either. So just keep that in mind in calculating fees. This problem right here was actually from this was the one on my exam when I took this class 16 years ago. And we actually had to calculate the whole fee, and then I didn't make you guys do all that. But everybody mostly got it right, so good job. The last problem was where nobody got this problem right. The highest grade on the exam was an 85 because people didn't get this problem right. So I wanted you to first calculate the area associated with the balance condition, and I actually specifically asked for the area. And I figured out that there was an error in my notes. I have to go back and fix on my equation for balanced area. I missed adding the I couldn't figure out why nobody would, like, a bunch of people didn't have that in there. And I realized my notes were wrong.
I sat there for like 30 minutes trying to figure out where the inches squared came from. Because I was like, it's in inches. I was like, I'm comparing inches squared to inches. Something is wrong. I finally figured that part out though.
Yeah, that's why I always say units, because you figured out that it was wrong because of the units.
Yeah, but I kept looking at the notes and I was like, dude, I don't know where this other inch comes from, but
yeah, because my notes were wrong. And I didn't even look at my notes. I just did the equations and solved for balance when I did and so you automatically take over the B. So sorry about that. But so if you calculate the area, you figure out that it's over reinforced. Now that should have been your first clue that the steel wasn't going to yield. If it's over reinforced, that means your steel isn't yielding. So when you come down to calculating the strain in the steel, everybody got that it was less than the yield strain, and compression controlled, but they based that off of an equation where they put Fy in there. And if it hasn't yielded, you can't put Fy. So nobody got that right. Everybody got the 0.006165 or whatever it was. It's actually,
we're great on a curve, right?
we'll see what happens, but but I mean, the average wasn't too bad. You all were like, the average was like a 76. Like y'all were like within like 20 points of each other. Yeah, so look at this one, understand what was going on, but that's like just a fundamental, if your steel hasn't yielded, then your stress can't be the yield stress. And I wrote that on every single paper. So but that's the solution there. Does anybody have any questions I haven't already addressed on that?
Sorry, I'm late.
That's okay. We're up to 14 people, so me telling you guys to come to class might have worked. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, that's I've got the solution up there. You should be able to click on it. Just click on exams, and the solution's there if you want to look at it. So with that, we're finishing up. This is our last week of analyzing sections, and next week we're going to start actually designing them. Let's see. So we did. We're going to do an example on a T section, but I want to make sure and talk about compression steel and just, let's see. Notice the effect of compression steel, which is basically it's to, I don't know if I wrote it down anywhere, but that's if you're steel. Compression steel is used, you don't have to incorporate, often you don't include it in your calculations. You can ignore it if you want, because it will in general only help, it should only help you in terms of making sure your steel yields. So that's a reason for including it, is to make sure your steel yields. And so just looking at the effect of adding compression steel on like the depth of your neutral axis, right? It decreases it so that you increase your strain in your steel, your tensile steel. But just looking at these right here, those might be on an exam. So, yeah. So after that, I'm just gonna do an example on receiving. Does anybody have any questions about compression reinforcement? When we get to design, there's going to be a homework in which you might need to actually, I might be lying, never mind. I'm thinking of something else. So here we want to design this beam, right? This is looking at a floor. And because it's poured monolithically with the slab, we can use some of the slab for our strength. So the first thing to do is ignore those numbers. And we're going to calculate our effective flange width that we get to take from the slab. This is, I know I keep saying it, but this is where the students last year were a little confused. So we have our beam width down here, which is 12 inches. And then to that, we get to add, since we're not a spandrel beam, it's a T-beam. So we get to add some amount, right? And that is on page 73. Remember, this is the overhang, not the whole width. It's the overhang. And so we're looking on each side of the web, we get to add the smaller of these to each side. So my is the minimum of 12 inches. That's my beam width. Plus 2 times 8H, SW over 2, or LN over 8. and this BF is the whole width. It's the width of my flange. The 12 inches is the beam width plus 2 times the overhang. Because I get to add 2, because there's 1 on each side. So I got 12 inches plus 2 times 8. H is the height. The slab thickness. All right. Which is 5 inches. Next, I have the beam width plus 2 times SW, which is the clear distance to the adjacent web. So in this case, all right, it's 10 feet. 10 feet center to center. And if the beams are 12-inch width, right? So you subtract 6 inches and 6 inches, you get 9 feet. All right, center to center is 10 feet, but I need the clear distance, so I need to subtract half from either side. So you get 9 feet. All right. So 2 times 9 feet, 12 inches. We'll put it over here.
Where did you get that each beam was 1 inch wide?
1 foot wide.
Yeah, where did you get that from?
The cross section.
There's something wrong that says 1 inch for the beams?
12 inches. 1 foot.
Oh, yeah, I meant, okay, gotcha.
So it's 10 feet, so I subtract half a foot and half a foot to get 9 feet. And that should give you 120 inches. So right now 92 is 1 inch. And then my next is 12 inches plus 2 times the clear span of the beam. Right, I said 23 feet. It would be like if center to center of the girders is 24 feet, which is what it says right there. But I'm going to subtract, I'm going to assume that those girders are also 12 inches. But I said assume it up there. So that's just the distance from here. Only 30 feet. 12 inches. To give you 81. So my width that I get to account for is 81 inches. So now that we've done that, okay, our next question is we just get to start analyzing this as we normally would. And our first assumption that we want to make is we want to hope that we're in case 2 because it's less work, or case 1, I'm sorry, where our compression block is only in the flange. I shouldn't draw that it's entirely in the flange, but because if it's greater than 5 inches, we have to calculate compression in the flanges in 2 different widths, right? The whole flange and then the beam width itself. So if it's only in the flange, my compression force in my concrete, 0.85 F prime C A, and the A being the depth of the compression block, I get to multiply it by the whole width, BF. And I'm gonna also, right, assume that I've yielded my steel. But remember, I gotta go back and check that. So I put these 2 things equal to each other. We've done this a bunch of times now. And solve for A. So A is the area of steel times the yield stress divided by 0.85 F times C. My area of steel. I'm looking at section AA because we're designing for moment, which would likely be maximum at the center, right? So I got 6 number 7 bars. So my AS is 6 times the area of a number 7. Anybody know what the area of a number 7 is?
.6.
Right. So my area of steel is 3.6.
Just want to make sure I'm following. If we have to do method 2 and into the slab, the stress block, we would add the other 2 bars that are up in the slab for AS, correct?
No. Okay, let me. Right now
Because at that point, we're assuming the compression is in the slab as well, right?
well, right now the compression is in the slab.
I thought we assumed it was, yeah. Well, we're assuming it's only in the slab.
Right. I can write it down. I can find my thing. I am gonna ignore my compression steel.
In both cases, regardless?
Yes.
Okay.
In general, ignore it. If you come to find out that your tension steel hasn't yielded, and maybe including that compression steel will yield your tensile steel, you can go and add that in. But in practice, ignore it. It is good to write it down though and say, I'm ignoring it. But that's a good question. Regardless of where I think my compression block is, I'm ignoring my compression steel. And actually what we're going to calculate, well, remind me to talk about it when we get there. But so my AS is 3.6 inches squared. That's my tensile steel, right? We're assuming positive bending here. And my D, I'm gonna need it in a second anyway. All right. They already wrote it for us. The centroid is about 3.5 inches from the bottom. So D is 24 inches, which is the entire height, right? Extreme compression fiber to the bottom of the beam is 24 inches. So I'm going to subtract 3.5 inches. So D is 20.5. Probably should have written that at the beginning if you want to. Yeah. So let's see, I've got 3.6 inches squared, 60 KSI steel, 28.5. This is 4 KSI concrete. And my beam flange width is 81 inches. So I get 0.78 inches. So yay, I'm still only in the flange because my stress block is way less than 5 inches. So I don't have to go into the stem or the web. What you'll also notice is it's 0.78 inches. If I go back and look, if I can touch that. Oh. We gotta go back. Like this thing is 5 inches, and my stress block depth, because my width is so big, it's 81 inches, is only 0.78. So I'm probably not even hitting those 2 number 8 bars with the compression anyway. So I wouldn't be able to account for them as compression steel. If you start to get down into the stem, yeah, now your depth of your compression block is a lot larger. Your which means that your depth to your neutral axis is a lot bigger. The bigger the depth to your neutral axis, the smaller your strain and your tensile steel. And so you might want to have to use those bars in calculating your compression rate. Or you might want to include your compression reinforcement in your calculation, because that'll help decrease the depth of your neutral axis. I don't know if you guys all followed that along, but just right, like.
So if you're like really, really close to having to go to case 2, go back and calculate your compression reinforcement, and it may keep you in case 1. Is that what you're trying to say?
That wasn't what I was trying to say, but that may help you too, if you want. Yeah.
Yeah, because it'll keep your thickness where you can use case 1, right? Or it possibly could.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. If you include your compression reinforcement, it'll decrease your neutral axis. It'll decrease your depth of your stress block, and that might decrease it back to like below the 5 inches or below the slab depth. You're right. If it's not going, you still might be in case 2, which is where we go into the stem. But and in that case, you might want to, like I said, include that compression reinforcement just to try to see if you can yield that steel. But in general, in practice, like out in the real world, ignore compression reinforcement. It's there if you need it, but try not to design with it, I guess, is the thing. Okay. So A is 0.78 inches, less than your slab height of 5 inches. I should also note that we're talking about the stress block, not everything that's in compression, like the depth to your neutral axis, because C is bigger than A, right? Depth to neutral axis, C. You could have a neutral axis depth down into the stem and still only have, right, let's see. If let's say your depth to your neutral axis was like 5.75. Now your neutral axis is down below H, but A would be 0.85 times that. So that's still less than that 5 inches. So you're still good. You're still in case 1. So we're just trying to keep our stress block. Well, not trying to, but it just makes calculations easier. So, but C could be down into the stem. It's just for case 1, A has to be less than that spot thickness. Okay. Oh yeah, and I wrote also in my notes. So D prime, oh, we don't even have it. D prime is 2.5 inches. Right, that's the depth to the compression reinforcement is 2.5 inches. Since my stress block is less than that, that compression reinforcement isn't in compression. Well, likely not in compression. That's just an aside. We said we were ignoring it anyway. But there's a reason to ignore it because it's not in compression. So what's my next step? Anybody want to guess? Just calculated my stress block. Depth A.
And first you would solve for C, right? That's easy.
Well, yeah, there's that. Yeah. Beta 1 is 0.85 because I'm at 4,000 psi concrete. That was also something that people missed on the exam. Beta 1 isn't always 0.85 if you have a higher compression strength. So 0.92. Now what's the next step?
Calculate the strain in your steel, right?
Yeah. And now we're just normal now. The only thing that's different about T-beams is the shape is weird. Right? I gotta check my assumption that I've yielded my steel. So I draw this like every time. I don't know why, but I do. All right. All right. C equals 0.92 inches. It's terrible. And D is 8.5. Yes equals ECU over C times E minus C. I mean, given how tiny that stress block is, I'm gonna make that easier like that.
Yeah, by a long shot.
Yeah. Right. Like less than an inch is it 0.064? Oops. Right. Like 30 times what we need. So that is greater than EY of 60 KSI, so 0.0007. So I don't have to go back and calculate that stress in that steel because it's yielded by a lot. Let's see. So my fee is based off of my tensile strain, right? In an extreme tensile. Now the thing is, right, if I go down a little bit more, right, if this is my strain in my steel, this is the strain in my extreme tensile steel. If I've yielded at the centroid, I'll only further increase because that arm, right, DT is going to be greater than D. I don't even have to calculate ET because if I've strained my steel at the centroid, then I've strained my steel at the extreme tensile, right? And I guess to be talking about plus 0.003, not just the fact that it's yielded, but it's yielded so much. I don't even have to calculate it. BT is always greater than or equal to. But because of that, I get to use everybody understand how I just did that? The fact that I'm so far above 0.005 at the centroid, I can only increase going further down to the extreme tensile steel. So I don't even have to calculate it. You could calculate it. I don't even know if we have the value because I don't think we have a value for that DT. It's probably, I don't know, 22 inches. But 21 and a half, 22 inches. So you can calculate that, but you don't have to. Now all we have to do is calculate DMN because this is just like a regular beam. I don't have to, since I'm in the flange, I don't have to do anything different. Anybody have any questions about that? Now, because I stayed in the flange for my compression, this is just like any other beam that we've done already. The only difference is I get to use this really wide width, my beam flange effective width, as opposed to like the 12 inches, right? If it was only the 12 inches, I'd have a much deeper stress block. Might not be yielding my steel. Who knows? It could be a fun exercise. Because that's a lot of not terribly. I'd probably be a lot closer to not yielding my steel if I did. And the only other thing is checking your AS min. Which I didn't say we have to do, but it's always a good exercise. Right? We've got 3.6 square inches of steel, so we're probably fine. This is the same as before, right? It's the maximum of 3 square root f prime c over fy pwd or 200 fy. Now in this case, our tension is in the bottom, right? So the BW that we're looking at, because BW or this AS min is to control cracking. So the BW that we use is 12 inches because cracking is caused by tension and there's only tension in the bottom.
And if it was negative, we would use BF, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So numbers. And remember to use the larger of those, which I think is the bottom one. I didn't even calculate the top one. I guess that should be. And my area of steel is 3.6. So. Anybody have any questions? We have homework, right? Yeah, there's homework due on Tuesday. So.
You were saying something about in one of the videos making an Excel spreadsheet, but I didn't see that in the homework. Did I just not read far enough into
It's
it?
not
Or is
this
that gonna be like a
one.
different
It's not this one.
All right.
But yeah, I definitely made an Excel spreadsheet when I was trying to figure out the exam problems because I wanted something that didn't yield, so I had to play around with stuff. But yeah. So now we are finished with analyzing. We're gonna actually start designing the beams and then calculating their capacity. That's more about like rules of thumb and then developing something and then seeing if it works. So, because this is whereas steel, you know, there's only certain shapes that are available. In concrete, you can make them anything you want. So it's not like you go to a chart and look something up. You got to make it up yourself. So, cool. Well, if anybody doesn't have any more questions, I can let y'all work on the homework or whatever else you need to be working on.
I have an admin question that I need to share my screen for on the AC, but I can wait until everybody gets off, I guess.
Okay. Everybody good? Okay. See y'all.
So I keep trying to sign up for the AC, and
Okay.
it won't let me go to the website. It says that it's like you're on a public, I guess like the internet I'm on is public or something like that. I'll show you so you can understand what I'm saying. And I've set it to private and it still won't let me do it. So, okay. So this is your email, and if I click on this is what you get. Your connection is not private. So if I go to my internet properties, I've set it to private. I've tried to like go to the Google search and get on their website and start from the home page. Same thing. Won't let me on their website. My thing is, if I go to UALR, it's going to be the same thing. It's not like a home Wi-Fi, so it's going to be a public. I mean, it's public internet. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, where
But
are
I've set it to private, so I don't. I'm at work.
Okay.
So I'm using company Wi-Fi.
I
But the deadline is what, like the 16th? So I don't have long to wait. I've got to figure it out, I guess.
Interesting. Where's my mouse? I don't have that problem at all.
I mean, this Wi-Fi is like password protected and everything, so I don't know why it would be like that.
I would try it at UALR. Because it may be, I would guess it's something with your work's network settings.
Firewall or something.
Yeah, I would try it at UALR if you can.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't work, I don't know. Send me your credit card number and I'll steal those.
All my stuff. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I haven't even been able to go on and like set up an account though because I can't get on the website. So.
Yeah, that's probably something. That's probably something with your work's Wi-Fi settings.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, I'll try it somewhere else then. I thought maybe I was just being stupid like I was with the videos, but no.
No, and I don't know what I mean, you could go talk to your IT person or you could just try it somewhere else. Like
try it somewhere else and see. Okay. Yeah, I'll give it a shot somewhere else and see if that fixes the problem.
Yeah, I would do that.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.